First, I hope we were able to finally receive a statement from the Akron Police Department and the police auditor on the officer with the 3%er tattoo. The complete silence, lack of transparency, and lack of accountability from the APD, the police auditor, Mayor Horgan, and most of the city council is quite honestly pathetic. Y'all are paid by the taxpayers and serve the taxpayers, but can't be bothered to return emails, phone calls, and actually carry out the sort of oversight you spent months talking about. On our own time, we've done what the police auditor, the APD, and local media should have done weeks ago. We believe the officer with the 3%er tattoo is Philip Sr., a resident of Wadsworth who joined the force in 2017. We have evidence that he got the tattoo quite recently, sometime between June 2018 and January 2019. That means that a person who doesn't even live in Akron yet patrols our streets felt it was appropriate to proudly don an extremist tattoo while on the APD payroll. This is disturbing to say the least. To be clear though, we do not believe Phil is the only APD officer with a predisposition to violent extremist ideologies. If he felt it was okay to get this tattoo, we are positive other officers have done the same or worse tendencies. This is yet another excellent example of why we cannot depend on the APD to keep us safe, nor to be accountable to our communities. We would also like a statement from the APD employee who felt it was okay to laugh at a Facebook comment using the official APD account that in part referenced the child who died in police custody and a man who is currently suing the APD over a recent and documented case of police brutality. At best, this is unprofessional. At worst, this is yet another indication that the APD is an unaccountable organization that revels in its disregard for the life of fellow Akronites. To all city council people, but especially the councilmen who voted down the George Floyd resolution, specifically Freeman, Kamer, and McKittrick, I ask, is this the sort of behavior you respect and support in your police department? Do you find the death of children in police custody funny like someone in the APD does? I expect each of you to actually speak on this issue. Otherwise, I take deafening silence from each of you as support for this sort of pathetic and disgusting behavior. Last, we've received a number of reports that either CSX or the city of Akron is planning to forcibly and violently evict houseless folks from their homes at the Grace Park and Adams Street encampments. This is unacceptable and will not be tolerated. A city or an organization that would further brutalize houseless people is devoid of humanity. These people are simply trying to survive, and the city of Akron continually fails to protect them and continually actively further harms them. Enough is enough. We demand all encampments be immediately sanctioned and all further camp sweeps be halted. I hope whoever is planning this camp sweep seriously reconsiders, and I hope council can take swift action to actually protect these people from further harm. I look forward to my supposed...
Hi, my name is Ryan Keene, 1604 Hampton Road, Akron. I was born in Akron and I'm a longtime resident of Ward 10. I'm a member of About Face, Veterans Against the War, and Serve the People Akron. For weeks now, there has been no transparency or accountability from Mayor Horgan, the Akron Police Department, and most of City Council. Only Councilman Malik and Councilwoman Samples, as well as Councilman Neal, have responded. Anonymous sources have identified with receipts the Akron Police 3%er, the extremist gang member, as Phil Sr., who was hired by the Akron Police Department in 2017 from a rural town in Medina County, Ohio. When hired in 2017, Officer Sr. did not have extremist militia gang tattoos. From the anonymous source receipts on social media between June 2018 and January 2019, he started getting extremist tattoos and felt comfortable proudly displaying it downtown Akron, May 30th, 2020 during George Floyd protests. This mentality is a very obvious and provable trend. After 7 to 8 months battling the City of Akron Law Department through FOI public records on body cams for May 30th, the attitude and comments repeatedly made were alarming. Why was Akron City Council the only Northeast Ohio city that didn't investigate and provide accountability and transparency for their police departments? Cleveland, Canton, Columbus, Cincinnati, Youngstown did, as well as most major cities throughout America. This is a direct failure in leadership by Mayor Horgan, President Somerville, Marco Somerville, and Vice President Fusco, who have all been involved in Akron politics and Akron leadership since the 80s. The Akron Police Facebook actually laughed at a post about a child dying in Akron Police custody, Xavier McMullen, as well as recent police brutality, such as Charles Hicks, where Officer Turner was allowed to resign and given a pat on the back by the local FOP. Is this what Akron City Council imagines as reimagining public safety? Why is it taking Akron leaders decades to acknowledge the oppression in the city? Our homeless friends at encampments are now saying they're going to be swept by the city again, just like in February, supposedly before June 2nd. And it coincides perfectly with when the downtown offices are opening. We know we don't want our suburbanites who travel downtown and most oppressed voices. Lastly, boycott and divest from the Kulu app, Akronite, which only has 4,000 downloads and will provide an Israeli business with $100,000 in operating costs from the city per year. In ties with our sister city in Israel, who...
Hi, my less colonized name is eternally polyamorous Mariah, reincarnated. I am currently a houseless person in between the cities of Akron, Kent, and Talmadge. And I am in that situation because housing is not considered a right, even though it definitely is a right. I'm here to support Akron adopting ranked choice voting, and Akron lowering the voting age to 16, like other cities have done. There are 5 cities in Maryland that have already done this, and there are we have allied nations like Scotland, Argentina, and let's see who else, Scotland, who have already lowered their country's voting age to 16. And we should go further and lower the voting age to 12. There's a wonderful book you could read about it, Children's Voices in Politics by Michael Cummings, a proud member of the National Youth Rights Association, as am I. Further, Akron needs to adopt a moratorium on rent, and Akron needs to designate land that the city is not using in a community land trust so that houseless people like myself, can comfortably set up tents, set up shelter, build sheds on these unused lands so that we do not have to worry about the police harassing us with police military terrorism, tasing us, pepper spraying us, and putting all of our belongings in trash dumps. Again, I'd like to remind y'all that I do support Akron Serves demands of that housing is a human right, and that land that is not being used by the city should be used to put into a community land trust. Also, the city's tax payment policy is a huge giveaway to the wealthy white ruling class property landowners at the expense of poor, colonized people of color, especially African people. Akron has more than enough members who are Black and colonized who could support reparations demands. The city needs to be making some type of efforts on reparations to African people, specifically colonized people of color as well. And that wraps up my comments. We need to lower the voting age to 12 and eventually abolish the voting age entirely. If you take the time to read Children's Voices in Politics by Michael Cummings, or head over to watch, any type of YouTube video about lowering the voting age, I've made a couple. And I hope you have a reincarnated day. Recycle.
Colin Robertson, 1456 Hunters Lake Drive. I have to ask once again, what are we funding the police for? It has been revealed that the APD, not unlike many police departments across America, has white supremacists among their ranks. You have been training, paying the salary and benefits of white supremacists, all while handing them a license to kill. Why is the city hiring militia members like Philip Sr.? Do you know who the people are that you are giving the power of life and death to?